When Tomorrow Comes, by Tony Gagliardi. Chapter 15. The Navigator's Key. The circle of stone sentinels cast long shadows across the plateau as dawn's first light reached across the sky. The fading Fox constellation continued its slow descent toward the horizon while the 12 guardians stood in their ancient formation, witnesses to a moment that had waited millennia to arrive. The group gathered before the entrance where the mountain's face had opened, a great archway carved with symbols that glowed with soft blue light. Inside, darkness gave way to a gentle luminescence that seemed to breathe with its own rhythm. The decision had been made back at the altar, but here, at the edge of their known world, each felt the weight of their choice anew. The Watcher stood at the mountain's threshold, his form caught between shadow and light, between staying and leaving, between one age and the next. "The way off this island lies within," the Watcher said, gesturing toward the mountain. "The ship that brought me here, the Damani. She carries the heart of the Accord, the memories of what we once were, and the hope of what we might become again." "I'm a sailing captain," Leo said. "I know ships with sails, not engines that cross between worlds." The Watcher's eyes lingered at the medallion on Leo's chest. "Some journeys prepare us for others we cannot yet imagine," he said. "The ship will respond to your unity. It's your harmony that awakens her, not technical knowledge." Maya looked up at the Watcher. "You're coming with us to find the other worlds, right?" The silence that followed answered her question. "You're staying behind," she said, realization dawning in her eyes. "But we need you," Luca said. "How will we find the others?" Noah asked. Isla moved closer to Maya. "Why can't you come?" Danny watched silently, waiting. "Someone must stay," the Watcher said gently, his face still shadowed within his hood. "To hold this beacon when Virex arrives. To ensure the signal continues until all 12 are awakened." "But you'll be alone," Danny whispered. "He'll destroy you." "Perhaps. But if I can hold the beacon long enough for you to reach the others and light the remaining worlds, when all 12 sing together as one, even Virex cannot silence us." Luca stepped forward. "We could fight him together, all of us." The Watcher knelt before the boy. "Your courage will indeed shake the stars, Captain Lightning. But not here, not now. It is they who will need you, not me. Your battle is among the worlds between worlds, awakening what sleeps, healing what was broken." The Watcher rose and turned to Eva. For a moment their gazes locked, eyes that held galaxies of memory, seeing not just who she was, but who she would become. From the folds of his robe, he brought forth a crystal that caught the emerging dawn light. "Eva Sinclair, keeper of knowledge," he said, extending the crystal toward her with both hands, as if offering a fragment of time itself. "Take this, the resonance key. You will need it to awaken what still sleeps on the other worlds." Eva accepted the crystal, and as their hands briefly touched in the exchange, a certainty passed between them, a silent understanding of the burden being transferred. As she held it, her gaze drifted past the Watcher back toward the circle of stone sentinels. Only one sentinel still pulsed with light, Earth's guardian, as it synchronized with the ziggurat's beacon. The other 11 had gone dark, a circle of shadows, each one waiting for its world to be awakened. The Watcher stepped back, his gaze taking in all of them one last time, children who had become heroes, adults who had become guardians of something greater than themselves. "Now go," he said, his voice carrying both command and farewell as he gestured toward the mountain's entrance. "Time grows short. Virex's ships already sail between the stars, hunting the signal you have sent. Every moment you delay is another moment closer to his arrival." The children looked torn, glancing between the Watcher and the dark entrance. Leo placed a hand on Luca's shoulder, then Danny's. "We have to go. All of us." One by one, they moved through the archway to enter the mountain. As their eyes adjusted, they could see a blue-lit tunnel stretching ahead into the depths. Eva turned back for one last look. The Watcher was gone. A silver flash caught their attention as it darted through the entrance, moving swiftly past them into the tunnel. "Look, it's the Fox," Isla whispered, her eyes lighting up. "It came back for us," Luca said, a smile breaking across his face. Leo stepped forward, gesturing for the others to follow. The group assumed their familiar single-file formation, following the fox deeper into the heart of the mountain, leaving the guardian of the first beacon to wait for the storm that was coming. Behind them, the mountain sealed itself with a sound like distant thunder. Stone grinding against stone, ancient mechanisms engaging, until silence fell like a curtain between them and the world they had known. There would be no turning back now. The silence transformed into something deeper, a low hum rising from the mountain's heart, vibrating through them, ancient and resonant, breathing with its own rhythm. The fox waited ahead in the blue-lit tunnel, its silver form patient and knowing. When it saw they were ready, it turned and began to walk deeper into the mountain. The passage stretched before them, walls curved and smooth as polished glass. The blue glow came from within the stone itself, veins of crystallized light that pulsed gently like a sleeping heartbeat. The deep humming grew stronger with each step deeper into the tunnel, reverberating through them until they could feel it in their chests as they walked. "Volcanic glass," Eva said softly, recognizing the formations. "We're walking through an old lava tube." The fox paused, looking back at them with eyes that reflected the blue light, then continued deeper. The tunnel curved downward, following the ancient path of molten rock that had once flowed from the mountain's core. "We're going down," Sam observed, his technical instincts noting the steady descent. "Pretty steep grade for a natural formation." "Where do you think it's taking us?" Isla asked, her small hand finding DJs as they walked. "To the Watcher's starship," Luca said with quiet certainty. The air grew warmer as they descended, and the humming deepened, becoming something richer, more complex, more rhythmic. Noah reached out to touch the glowing veins in the wall. "It's warm," he said, wonder in his voice. Leo kept the group together, his protective instincts sharp, but no longer fighting the impossible. "Stay close," he said. "Whatever we're walking into, we go together." The fox stopped ahead, sitting on its haunches and tilting its head as if listening to something only it could hear. Danny, walking quietly behind Maya, nodded once as if she understood. Then the fox rose and continued, its pace quickening slightly. The tunnel began to widen, the ceiling rising higher above their heads. The blue glow grew brighter, and now they could see light ahead. Beyond the passage walls, something different, something vast. "Look," Maya breathed, pointing ahead. They emerged into a cavern so large that their voices seemed to disappear into its depths. Far above, a circle of starlight streamed down through an opening in the mountain's peak, the ancient volcanic vent that had once carried fire to the surface, now carrying light to the depths. "Sweet mother of—" DJ started, then caught himself, pulling Isla closer as they all stood transfixed. "How is this possible?" Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper, all his technical certainty humbled by the sheer scale of the space. Marina stepped forward, her explorer's instincts engaged. "The whole mountain is hollow." Eva was already reaching for her tablet, then stopped, realizing some moments were too vast for documentation. "It's incredible," she whispered. And there, in the center of the enormous cavern, resting on the smooth volcanic floor like a sleeping giant, was the Domani. The ship was beautiful beyond words, sleek lines that seemed to flow like water frozen in motion, surfaces that gleamed with their own inner light. It was neither fully metal nor fully alive, but something between the two, organic curves married to purposeful design. Ancient yet timeless. "No way," Luca breathed. That's really a starship." "It's magnificent," Maya said, her navigator's eye taking in the vessel's perfect proportions. The growing dawn light from above caught the ship's hull, revealing a luminous translucent aura that pulsed in rhythm with the ship itself. Around its base, smaller lights pulsed gently, and what looked like a landing ramp had extended from the ship's lower hull to touch the cavern floor. The fox had reached the base of the ramp, pausing to look back at them. Then it walked up the ramp, disappearing into the vessel's glowing interior. Danny spoke for the first time since entering the mountain, her quiet voice carrying clearly in the vast space. "The Watcher's ship is waiting for us." The moment the fox disappeared inside, the Domani responded. Blue light began pulsing along its hull, soft at first, then deeper, richer. The ship's rhythm resonated through the cavern's depths. The volcanic glass walls caught every pulse and sent waves of color racing across their crystalline surfaces. "Look at the walls," Maya said. The entire cavern had become a canvas of moving light. Each pulse from the ship painted new patterns across the glass, blues flowing into golds, purples blooming into silver streams that spiraled around the chamber's curved walls. The deep hum grew richer, more complex, as if the ship and the mountain were finding their harmony together. "The whole place is singing," Isla whispered, her hand tight in DJ's. DJ nodded, his voice quiet with wonder. Leo kept the group together as they moved forward, his protective instincts sharp even as he marveled at what lay before them. "Stay close. Whatever happens, we go aboard together." With each step, the light show intensified. The ship's hull shifted from blue to gold to deep amber, and every change reflected off the volcanic glass until streams of radiance flowed around them like living rivers. Marina walked with the confident stride of an explorer entering new territory. The whole cavern's responding. Like the mountain and the ship are talking to each other. The closer they came, the more magnificent the Domani revealed itself. Its hull curved in organic lines that seemed grown rather than built, surfaces shifting between crystalline clarity and flowing metal. Lights pulsed along its length in slow, rhythmic breathing, and the extended ramp gleamed with inner radiance that seemed to reach toward them. "How big is it?" Isla whispered, pressed close to DJ's side. "Big enough to take us anywhere we need to go, kiddo," DJ said softly, his usual humor replaced by genuine awe. Sam stopped walking for a moment, overwhelmed, his technical mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "How do you even build something like this?" Eva walked in silent reverence, her historian's training warring with the evidence before her eyes. This wasn't just a vessel, it was living art that happened to sail between stars. "It's beautiful," Eva said softly, her scholar's mind trying to catalogue what her eyes were seeing. Danny moved quietly beside Maya, her perceptive gaze taking in details the others missed. "The lights are getting brighter," she said simply. "It's happy we're here." Noah shook his head in amazement. "This is really happening. I can't wait. I can't believe we're actually going to board that." "We are so doing this," Luca added. Leo reached the base of the ramp first. The moment he stepped onto its surface, the light patterns shifted, flowing upward toward the ship's entrance. The harmonic sound deepened, and the volcanic glass walls responded with cascading waves of color that made the entire cavern pulse like a living heartbeat. "Time to go aboard," Maya said, her navigator's instincts certain. One by one, they followed Leo up the ramp, their footsteps creating new ripples of light that flowed ahead of them while the cavern's symphony of color and sound continued behind them. As the last of them crossed onto the ship, the ramp sealed behind them with a resonant hum that traveled through the ship's hull. They stood in what appeared to be a cargo bay, smooth walls curved upward where soft lights awakened along pathways as they moved. "I can't believe we're actually inside," Noah whispered. The floor beneath them began to glow. Geometric patterns spread outward from their feet in concentric rings of light, pulsing with a steady rhythm. The entire section where they stood suddenly lifted upward on waves of harmony, rising like music given form. "We're ascending," Maya said, steadying herself against the subtle motion. The light platform carried them through a central atrium that revealed the true vastness of the Domani. Above and below them, chambers opened like blossoming flowers, vast spaces filled with crystalline architecture that caught and transformed light in ways that defied understanding. "It's endless," Eva breathed, her tablet forgotten in her hands. Layer after layer of the vessel revealed itself as they rose. Curved hallways branched from the central shaft, leading to chambers with suspended star maps that rotated in slow, deliberate patterns, and gardens where light grew like living plants. Wherever they passed, the ship responded, panels brightening with patterns that mirrored their movements, as if mapping their unique signatures into its memory. Colors flowing like liquid through corridors and doorways. DJ kept one protective arm around Isla as they ascended through what looked like a suspended nebula, clouds of luminous particles that parted around their platform. Marina squeezed DJ's hand as they gazed upward. "What do you think?" "For once," he replied with a genuine smile, "I'm completely speechless." The ascent slowed as they approached the uppermost deck. The platform came to rest with a final resonant note that hung in the air before fading. Before them stretched a wide corridor, its walls inscribed with flowing patterns that pulsed with gentle blue light. At the corridor's far end, the fox waited, its silver form outlined against the glow. It turned to look back at them, then continued forward, disappearing around a curve. The silence that followed was broken by a melody drifting through the corridors ahead, bridging the space between them and whatever waited beyond. The music floated toward them, each note resonating with the ship's crystalline walls, multiplying and transforming as it traveled, haunting and somehow compelling. "What's that sound?" Luca asked, his voice hushed. Leo exchanged glances with Eva, a question in his eyes that none of them could answer. "Should we follow it?" Noah asked. Leo nodded. "I think that's exactly what we're meant to do." As they walked along the corridor, the melody wrapped around them like an invisible current. The fox forgotten as the music became their guide. Each echo drew them deeper, the ship's lights pulsing subtly with each haunting refrain. Following not footprints but sound waves, the mysterious melody growing clearer with every step. As they approached the curve in the corridor, the melody became clearer, more distinct. The children exchanged glances, something unspoken passing between them. "This can't be," Leo whispered, more to himself than to the others. "Only one way to find out," DJ said, gesturing toward the bend in the corridor. Leo took a deep breath and stepped forward, with the others close behind. As they rounded the corner, the corridor opened into a vast circular chamber, a command center constructed of crystalline panels and flowing metal. Curved viewports wrapped around the perimeter, revealing the vast cavern around them, its volcanic glass walls pulsing with the ship's awakening rhythm. They stepped hesitantly into the space, drawn forward by the music that now filled the chamber. At the center, seated at the helm, was a man in a vintage uniform. A harmonica held to his lips, his fingers moving across its surface as he played that haunting melody. He lowered the instrument as they entered, turning to face them with handsome features that somehow hadn't aged despite the century that should have passed. "Hello there," he said in a crisp British accent. "Pleased to meet you all at last." Eva stepped forward, momentarily speechless. "Lieutenant Reed," she finally managed, her historian's certainty faltering. "This can't be. You must be over 100 years old." His eyes met Eva's as they held each other's gaze with unexpected warmth, something unspoken passing between them, a smile touching the corner of his mouth. "And you must be Eva Sinclair. I've heard a great deal about you." His eyes moved to the children, then back to Eva. "About all of you, actually." A moment passed between them, brief but unmistakable, before his attention shifted to the others. "From who?" Leo asked, his captain's voice steady, despite the uncertainty in his eyes. "Ahoy, me hearties!" a familiar voice called out from behind them. "Did ye think I'd let you sail the stars without me? Matteo!" The children's faces lit up as they spun around, rushing toward him with unbridled joy. There stood their friend they thought they had lost at sea, grinning broadly as the kids jumped up and down around him, bombarding him with questions tumbling over each other. "Where have you been? We thought you were gone. Did you know about all this?" All of them speaking over each other in excitement. Matteo laughed, kneeling to embrace them. "I've been right here, waiting for you all to find your way." "You're alive," Noah shouted, his voice cracking with relief. "We thought we'd lost you in the storm," Maya said, struggling to maintain her composure. Isla launched herself into his arms. "Did you know about the spaceship all along?" Luca hung back slightly. "You knew we'd find you, didn't you?" Matteo's laugh boomed across the bridge. "Guilty as charged, Captain Lightning, though I must say, you all exceeded my wildest expectations." Danny stepped back quietly. "The treasure hunt. The relics, the map. You knew." "I, little lookout moon shadow. Every step of the way." Matteo's voice grew gentle. "I've been waiting so long for the right crew to find this old ship. And here you are, my brave little buccaneers, ready to heal the stars themselves." DJ stepped forward, shaking his head in amazement. "Man, and here I thought you were just some eccentric old sailor with too many stories." "Best kind of sailor there is," Matteo winked. This old ship has some quirks that could use your mechanical mind, Chief Fixer. It's going to need someone who can keep her singing smooth. Sam adjusted his glasses, a smile tugging at his lips despite himself. This technology, it shouldn't be possible. Wait until you see what she can do when she's fully awake, Matteo replied. Wait until your analytical mind sees what comes next. Worth its weight in stardust. While the reunion continued around Matteo, the bridge settled into smaller conversations. Leo drifted toward the helm, his captain's instincts taking over. As he studied the controls, holographic star charts flickered to life around him, responding to his presence. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Reed found himself chatting with Marina and Eva. "We found your journal," Eva said, her eyes bright with gratitude. "Your journal, it saved us." Marina nodded, smiling warmly. "Your journal was all we thought we'd ever find of you. You gave us hope when we needed it. We never imagined we'd meet you in person." Lieutenant Reed smiled, his eyes lighting up. 100 years, and it finally helped someone. Matteo turned to Lieutenant Reed with a smile. "Lieutenant Reed, I'd like to formally introduce you to the captain of the Domani, Leo Turner." Leo stepped toward Lieutenant Reed, extending his hand. "Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant." "The pleasure's mine, Captain," Lieutenant Reed said as he shook Leo's hand with a firm grip. "I can fly her anywhere within this realm." Leo's brow furrowed, his hand unconsciously moving to his medallion. "Within this realm." Matteo turned to Leo. "And you'll get us into the other worlds, Leo." "What do you mean, Matteo?" said Leo. Matteo's eyes stared at the medallion on Leo's chest. "You steered everyone through on the Tomorrow, didn't you? You found the Navigator's key in my chest, didn't you?" Leo looked down at the medallion, and for the first time he truly saw it. The ship's wheel design, the 12 stones around the rim, each fashioned from the same ancient materials as the Sentinels themselves, only one glowing softly, earth stone. The other 11 waiting in darkness. "One down, 11 to go," Matteo said with a broad smile. "Lieutenant Reed, I'd like to introduce our cosmic crew. Young Buccaneers, would you like to present yourselves to Lieutenant Reed?" The children exchanged excited glances, then stepped forward one by one, their voices ringing with confidence. Luca stepped up first, straightening his shoulders. "Captain Lightning, ready to shake some stars." Maya followed, her star pendant catching the bridge lights. "First Mate Starlight, ready for navigation duties." Noah bounced forward with his spiral coin. "Quartermaster Quick, ready to decode the cosmos." Isla and Danny stepped forward together, holding hands. Buccaneer Brightwave and Lookout Moonshadow, ready for adventure. Lieutenant Reed's face lit up with genuine delight. "Well, now that's a proper crew if I ever saw one. Welcome aboard, young Buccaneers." "You're not just Buccaneers anymore," Matteo grinned, spreading his arms wide. "You're cosmic pirates. The universe won't know what hit it." "Remember when you said the real treasure was the friends we made along the way?" Maya asked Matteo, wiping tears from her eyes. Matteo's eyes twinkled. "Well, turns out the real treasure was a starship. Though I wasn't wrong about the friends part either." He looked around at all of them, children and adults, his ragtag crew of castaways who had become so much more. "Welcome aboard, my brave Buccaneers. Time to show the cosmos what harmony looks like." Luca stepped up beside Leo, his thunderbolt pendant gleaming. "So we're really doing this? Sailing between the stars?" Leo's hand found Luca's shoulder, his gaze moving to Danny standing nearby. "Yes, son, we're really doing this." "And our fox friend?" Isla asked Matteo, looking around. "Is he coming with us?" Matteo smiled. "The fox knows where we need to go, little one. In the stars, we'll follow it just like you did on the island." The ship hummed around them, responding to their joy, their unity, their readiness to sail among the stars and heal the cosmos itself. And for the first time since the storm, they all knew exactly where they belonged. Ahead of them, the Fox constellation shimmered on the horizon, pointing the way forward.